BlackRock news, confirming what we already knew finally, that there is no iShares XRP trust, at least not a valid one, that BlackRock is not getting ready to launch an XRP ETF, that is just a massive fraud. And we should have known better, right? Like, this was good news, unexpected news that we didn't have to fight and claw and argue for, and it just came out of nowhere. That our spidey senses should have told us right there, this can't be correct, and it wasn't. So BlackRock finally confirming that, but this is what's irritating to me. XRP spike on hoax filing, a bad look. People are acting like we're the criminals, XRP investors, like this is our fault. We were the target of this scam. We're the victims here. They were trying to get us to FOMO into XRP based on this fraudulent trust that was filed so they could steal our money, essentially. Get us to pay inflated prices so they could run off with profits. I've never seen something like this. Like, why is this our fault? And this has nothing to do with blockchain. This scam didn't happen, on the XRP ledger. This just happened in the antiquated systems of the Secretary of State, where they don't bother to check. You just put any name you want on those forms, and as long as you pay your fees, hey, the government's happy. They'll go ahead and process that paperwork. Let's not really check on anything, right? And I suspect someone will try something like this, and it might be outside the realm of crypto. You don't have to be in crypto to manipulate investors with something like this. Who would have thought? But this expert from Bloomberg is saying that they doubt the SEC will deny ETFs after the XRP price spike on the fake BlackRock XRP trust filing, but it is a bad look. It's a bad look that there are scammers out there, but again, this isn't a blockchain problem. This is like government should do a little bit of checks at least. Like iShares XRP trust, if it's iShares anything, you should be looking into that. And if it has BlackRock's name on that, that's a serious filing. Someone should have been able to see what was going on, and they should have stepped in earlier than they did. They left it up there forever. It might still be up there for all I know. I have no idea. But again, this isn't a blockchain problem, and this definitely isn't an XRP investor problem. Like, we didn't do this. We were the targets, and they want to blame the victims here. It's ridiculous. Thought my buddy DM Logic put out a great video. I encourage you to go check it out on his Twitter. But he's just talking about all the pitfalls in this space. And I'll tell you this. I guarantee you're never going to play it right. You're going to sell some stuff too early. You're going to hold on some stuff way too long. He has some helpful tips in this video talking about his crypto journey, how he had life-changing money. And like it always does, the fun and games came to an end. I'll add one on there, though. What helps me a lot is the fact that I try to invest the majority of my money into serious cryptocurrencies. And I understand the appeal of your micro caps and your really up-and-coming cryptos, and I do invest in that. But I put the bulk of my money in stuff that I believe is going to be here over the long haul. I've been compounding Bitcoin gains for a long time. I've been compounding XRP. That's still in the green if you look at my average cost basis. And, if I don't sell in the profit, I like to hold things that, I believe have long-term potential. So it's not so devastating. We're going to have a bounce back eventually. Now, bear markets last a long time, and they are vicious, and they are never ending. But if you really like the assets you have, you see it for what it is. It's an opportunity to buy more. Doesn't make it easier. No one likes to see those values come crashing down, especially when you have a life-changing money. But it's a little bit of magical thinking to say, well, you know what? Next time around, I'm really going to sell the top. I'm going to cash in when, you have to be a little crazy just to get to those levels. I think in this video, he gives an example of a portfolio at 500,000. Should he have sold at 500,000? Well, why not 400,000 or 50,000? Or, most regular people out there, you give them a couple, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 gains, they're going to cash in immediately. So we're wired a little bit different than the everyday person. Understand that. Use that to your advantage. Of course, when you see life-changing money, start taking some money off the table, of course. But just understand you're always going to probably overshoot this a little bit, and that's okay, especially if you're in it for the long term. That will help you out a lot. And again, I'm not discouraging you from getting into some of the microcaps. I do that as well. But I am careful as I'm allocating my money. I want stuff that I know if I go flying over that next bull run and have to live through another bear market, I have a high likelihood of rebounding and adding extra growth down the road. It can help you out a lot where you don't worry as much. Matthew Crater. I know he hates XRP. He's really against it. But I still think he has some really good content. And he's bringing up a good point. Look, we know there's a Bitcoin ETF coming from BlackRock, and you can own a lot of Bitcoin, and that could help you manipulate maybe the market price of Bitcoin, but you don't have any more power over the blockchain just because you have a lot of coins. But with proof of stake like Ethereum, that's not the case, is it? And we already see this happening a little bit with people that control a large amount of Ethereum. Look at the power currently Coinbase has, or Lido Finance, or some of those other players out there. I mean, they just have a massive amount of the stake. What's going to happen when you combine Coinbase and they will be a custodian for BlackRock? I mean, they could just acquire a ton of Ethereum. And what control of the network will they have? And what type of things could they push through, like censoring transactions when the government calls on them to do it? Things like this. So really for Ethereum, while it'd probably be great for the price, for network security, a behemoth like BlackRock coming in could cause them some problems. And again, all systems are different. Doesn't mean every proof of stake will have these same issues. You have the XRP ledger that has a consensus protocol here, a little bit different. Owning coins doesn't help you have any sort of governance over the network. And I wouldn't look at things so black and white as far as, well, it's only should be proof of work or consensus or proof of stake. They all have different designs and reasons for it. And there's always something you're going to get with a different design, but you're going to give something up. So this is why we're probably going to have many valuable blockchains out there, because they all have their pluses and minuses, and they'll have their strengths and areas they can excel in. And so while I'm not quite as myopic as Matthew Kratter, he does bring up some great issues in these videos, things to think about. And that's a big one. What happens if BlackRock controls, 50% of the Ethereum supply? It could be really a big, big issue. Let me know what you think down below about that. I thought this was a great article about Ripple executives reiterating we need to have a tech neutral crypto regulations. And this is just kind of common sense. A Ripple executive reemphasized the need to adopt a technology neutral approach for more effective and adaptable guardrails. And what they're saying is, look, if we're doing a payment, that should be regulated as payments. For raising capital, well, that maybe should be under, securities regulations. Like, it doesn't change the facts of the transaction just because you're using blockchain. Might make a payment faster, might make it cheaper, but it don't change it from just being a payment. We need to really think about how we're approaching this area. Like, just because you're doing a transaction online, if you're doing banking, that's a banking transaction and falls under banking regulators. This is kind of common sense. But unfortunately, because it's new and it's this tool that could be used in different ways, people don't look at things logically. And this is where we need to really send the discussion, a common sense approach. Doesn't mean you should have an unregulated space, but we have to have, some logic as we approach this and try to do a better job than we have, because it's just nuts out there right now. Bitcoin today dropped 4%, $35,000. And this was interesting because we saw stocks take off. Big stock rally. The manipulated inflation numbers, well, they look quite good, a lot better than expected. Imagine that, leading into an election year. And the fact, we need to comment with the interest rates and the hikes and all of that. And all of a sudden, wow, inflation's so good. And all these things are supposedly dropping. I don't know about you. Let me know if you are seeing the prices of things drop. Of course, some are. But, I don't know if it's quite as good as those reports were showing. But the point is, you'd expect also crypto to take off a little bit, and it had a little bit of a lull. Not a massive sell-off. I mean, 4%, what is that in cryptocurrencies? It's almost nothing. But, you would have thought we would have saw a rally today, and we didn't. Some people are thinking, well, maybe it's the decline in enthusiasm about an imminent approval spot Bitcoin ETF. Could be. Could be just, crypto's been pretty hot here as of late, and the flavor of the day was stocks. And that's the way investors went with it. I don't really know. Nothing goes straight up, anyway. There's always going to be pullbacks and cool downs, and that's just life. But pretty much it was pretty interesting today. I thought we were going to see crypto rally a bit more than we did. We'll see what the rest of this week has in store for us. The little ups and downs of the day shouldn't bother you too much. Crypto goes up and crypto goes down. That's just kind of life, as my buddy Charles Hoskinson says. But I think one thing about this imminent approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs, I mean, they're going to have to approve many of them at once. And because of the big players, it may happen now. You have BlackRock, Fidelity, a lot of big-time heavy hitters out there. But if it was me, I would take my time on this. I think they have till January or February. And that's when I would really roll it out, because you don't want any problems. You want to do this right. And again, you're not just doing one ETF application. You have to do all of them, or else you're crowning a king within crypto, and that's just not right. They shouldn't do that. So we'll see how it plays out. I would not be surprised if they take at least to the very beginning of next year. But with the players involved, if they really want it, if BlackRock wants it and wants it now, well, maybe it gets done. We'll have to see. Kathy Wood speculating Gary Gensler's political ambitions are affecting his judgment. And, here years ago, the crypto market was way less mature than it is now, and looked nothing like the markets we see today in terms of liquidity and trading. And really, these exchanges are starting to be top-notch as well in terms of security, and a lot of the nonsense we would see back in the day you don't today. Of course, there's still manipulation. We know that. But, Gary Gensler, many years ago, felt it was stupid not to have a spot Bitcoin ETF. Well, in 2017, 2018, if you thought we should have one, well, what about now? Now it's a no-brainer, yet he won't approve it. Well, it's exactly that. Political puppetry is really what's going on with this guy, and it's a shame, but it's just the way this game works. We'll work through it. Money talks, and crypto's got a lot of it. It's going to start having political pull. Best understand that. I've been paying a lot of attention to what's on the short horizon here, but to my understanding, they're proposing a lot of new rules for taxes that will complicate your life. Of course, the tax man wants in on these crypto gains. And from what this article is saying, they might not just report your sales, and that's always a problem because you buy crypto on Coinbase and you end up selling it on BitTrue or Uphold, and they don't know what your cost basis was, like most stock brokerage accounts do nowadays. So they just reported it all as all gain, and you have to adjust it down. And from what this article says, they're going to also report your transfers. So if you transfer, 100 grand worth of XRP from one exchange to the other, the exchange is going to send a report to the IRS. Now, that's not a taxable transaction, but I guess they want to see those money flows, don't they? So this is going to cause a lot of hassle for taxpayers out there. They're going to get all these complicated forms that they're going to have to know how to deal with it. And so hopefully they can streamline this a little bit, make it easier for taxpayers. I think Uphold did that to me. I just sent some XRP off the exchange to cold storage, I think, and I think they sent some sort of stuff to the IRS. I thought I saw that on my transcript. I was like, what the heck are they doing? But I think in the future, that might be required. They want to see your cash flows. Lastly, Michael Burry has closed out his $1.6 billion S&P 500 short position, an estimated loss of 40%. Now, what I want you to understand about this, of course, he's using leverage. And so people hear that number, $1.6 billion. Michael Burry ain't making bets of that size. And we see this fact check here on Twitter. They're saying, well, actually he had about $10 million at risk at the time. And I don't know if that's the correct figure, but it's something far, far less than $1.6 billion. But he definitely lost. I mean, the S&P 500 went up quite a bit, and he was wrong. And I made this comment today on Twitter. Michael Burry, everyone acts like, because they made a movie about the guy, he knows the future and he knows everything that's going to happen. And I said, Michael Burry has called 50 of the last two, financial crises, financial crashes. The guy is always doom and gloom. There's always a crash. And it seems like some people are either always a bear and, always going on the short, or, always a bull, that things only are going up. Try to find somewhere in the middle. Again, you'll never know for sure. Keep a long-term horizon, but don't get scared off by people like Michael Burry. Yeah, he's going to be right some of the time. He's always calling for a crash, but most of the time, he doesn't know what he's talking about any more than the rest of us. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.